What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 157. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Catwoman. So what did I think of Catwoman? Well, a lot of people hate this movie. I personally liked it. I mean, considering it got 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's saying a lot. It wasn't the best superhero movie that I've seen. No. But it's not horrible either. It's a movie that, once you see it a bunch of times, you really kind of... I don't know. I kind of get tired of it after a while, but it isn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not a very good movie, but it's not horrible. I didn't like Catwoman as a character. I didn't like her suit. I don't like it was too revealing to me. Too like sexy. It didn't appeal to me all that much. I liked her, her leather outfit. Not the one that she has in the rest of the movie. That one is just, ugh. Wasn't a fan of that. But this version of Catwoman, the one for this movie, played by Halle Barry, and her acting. Halle Berry's acting wasn't that bad. I can't even tell what bad acting is. And apparently this was panned for the acting. Apparently it had terrible acting. It didn't really have terrible acting. It wasn't even that bad. I mean, I didn't really have any problem with it. It was pretty good acting, according to me, anyway. I mean, I have a different perspective from other people who might have definitely loved this movie, but for me, I liked it. I just didn't love it. I didn't think it was the greatest superhero film of all time. God, no. I didn't hate it. I thought it was... Well, some aspects were good. There were a lot of things I really didn't like about it. But the character of Catwoman, her alter ego, Patience Phillips, is not the original comic book counterpart in the comics, I'm pretty sure. Cindy Kyle is Catwoman. But I think that for this particular movie, they wanted to give Catwoman, like the alter ego, I guess you'd call it that, a different name. So they called her Patience Phillips. Don't know why, but it was just a part of the film. But the character of Patience Phillips is very interesting. The idea that she wanted to be an artist, and she took art school, and she likes art and all that stuff, she's very good at it. But what she ends up having to do as her job is she is a graphic designer for a beauty cream that apparently we're supposed to reverse aging, but it has a side effect, horrible side effects. That's the idea of the plot of the movie, is that this beauty cream is supposed to be shipped out, but the people are concerned about its effects, and it's horrible, and actually terrible things that can happen to you if you use it. In fact, her best friend is using it. It's just really bad. But she designs ads for the cream itself, and her boss is terrible about it. Like, he's so evil because he's so mean and so despicable and everything like that. And I think I've seen that the actor who plays the boss in another movie before. I think it was The Matrix Reloaded. I think it was that movie. He's a French actor, and I'm pretty sure he was in the movie. What? I think so. Pretty sure. And yeah, I think that Patience Phillips, when she transforms, it goes crazy. But before that, she's just this shy woman she's very clumsy. Yeah, very clumsy, and she doesn't feel like she's doing the right thing, and she tries really hard to get through life, and it's hard for her. And again, this movie was panned. It was terrible, quote that. It wasn't even that bad. The first time I saw it, a while ago. I don't remember the last time I saw it. I don't know what it was, but I saw it, and I watched it, and I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. I watched it, and I enjoyed it, Just wasn't a fan of Catwoman herself, her character, I think that she, in, like, The Dark Knight Rises, for example, she's really awesome in that. For this one, it's like, it was the first attempt at a live-action movie. I mean, they'd done, like, live-action before in, like, the older Batman movies, but this is, like, her first live-action solo movie based around Catwoman, like, the first one they made, and it didn't do so well, honestly. It underperformed the box office. It was, considered one of the worst movies of all time, but I can disagree with that. I didn't think it was awful. I didn't think it was great. It could have been better. The costume designs could have been better. But what's really tough for Patience in this movie is that she lives a very hard life. She meets a cute cop guy, but it's really hard for her because they're these neighbors, and this ends up being solved after she gets her cat-like abilities. She basically like crashes the party. There's these neighbors that blast music at 4 in the morning and have like parties and stuff like that, and she's really tired of it, and she can't even sleep because it's so loud. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning when this happens, and the abilities come when midnight, which in the scene when she gets her abilities, her powers. The only time that Mina's actually CGI, because most of the cats are all practical. They're all real cats. And the one you see in the shot where the Midnight is giving her life, giving Patience life, that's a CGI cat. I mean, obviously, and it isn't too bad. I've seen definitely worse CGI, and Midnight brings back to life if she becomes Catwoman. Her perspective on life changes. Her personality changes. Well, sometimes she kind of is able to stand up to herself, like you tell Baz off about all the things she's done horribly wrong, and she ends up being fired for it. But it's still like she's able to. She has better perception on life because of that, which is very interesting. I mean, that's like the fact that you have all these abilities now makes you stronger, makes you able to like stand up to your boss who's evil and just mean and nasty and everything like that. And the CGI. Speaking of CGI, well, people complain about that a lot. People said the CGI was awful. It wasn't awful. I mean, you look at a movie like, I haven't seen this movie, so don't judge me, but The Scorpion King. I saw a video about this. I never seen the movie because at this point I don't want to see the movie. It's terrible. But look at the CGI in that. With Dwayne Johnson's face on this scorpion thing, it looks terrible. It looks so bad. And you look at the CGI in Catwoman. They're very distinctive. Catwoman CGI looks more like a video game. It's kind of funny, actually. It's weird. It's not terrible, but it's definitely better than the CGI you see in movies like The Scorpion King, which I had never seen. I saw a video about it, and it proves that CGI can be terrible. And Catwoman CGI, well, they had to use it when necessary. There was a lot of Halle Barry, but like the fact that they CGI'd that whole thing where she's running around, it just doesn't look good. I mean, it feels like a video game. It feels like an animation. It's so weird, and it's kind of uncomfortable to watch, honestly. When I see that kind of CGI used a lot in that movie, it's a little weird. After a while, it's like, what the hell am I watching? But at least it's better than most CGI you see in movies that came out around this decade, or around this year. I don't know when The Scorpion King came out, but it's just an example movie that I saw a video about, told me not to watch it because the CGI is so bad. So now I know to refrain from watching that movie. But yeah, the CGI just felt like an animation, felt like a video game, and it was weird. Seeing Halle Berry CGI, it's weird. It's so weird, and I'm not sure if I like it. It's so weird. I think that the best part of this movie, probably, is the editing. And the music too. The music was good. A lot of the music was just like rock music, but a lot of the other music was just actually like nice and relaxing music. Like the scene where Midnight, the cat, gives Patience her abilities after she dies. That score is beautiful. My God, like they really nailed it. It's fantastic scoring, and it just feels so epic and so amazing. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a chorus. It's beautiful. That particular scoring in that scene was just amazing. I mean, CGI cats alone, that's still a good score. But the editing was definitely the best part of the movie, because from her perspective, we get to see a lot of what it's like to be Catwoman, basically, because of the visual effects involved. It just feels, because there's a scene where Patience, not as Catwoman, but Patience herself is saving a kid after the Ferris wheel gets stuck. And then we see her life from her lens, going hopping around, and it's just amazing. It's like we can feel what it's like to be Catwoman. I mean, obviously she's not Catwoman yet because she doesn't wear her costume, but even then, it's like it's amazing, and it just makes you think about the visual effects that way, because the editing was just amazing. The transition effects, and also the time effects, like the transition of time. There's a scene where Patience does her outfit, and it kind of shows you like how everyone's going around. Fast, a lot fat. It's kind of like the time turner in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. How that was, where people were like going like that, and it's the exact same thing where we see the passing of time, how it goes from day to night, and then that scene in particular is when Patience becomes Catwoman. But it's just a really cool effect. I like that. It's really cool. I don't know how you do it, but it's awesome. And one thing I really didn't like about this movie, I mean, it's just my opinion, really. My opinion about hairstyles. I didn't like when she cut her hair. I mean, look at a character like a Batwoman from the same comic industry. She wears a wig. Kate Kane herself doesn't wear a wig. She has short hair, but she wears a wig. She wears a red wig, long curly wig, and Catwoman decides to cut her hair. It's just, I didn't like it, I like the brown curly hair. I like that. It also does explain why, in between this movie and X-Men 3, why Storm has short hair. Because in this movie, the actress Halle Barry cuts her hair. Like, she cuts her hair to become Catwoman, but also because in X-Men 3, The Lost Hand, Storm has shorter hair, which explains why. The fact that the actress herself actually cut her hair for the role during the film. That's the way it is. Some actors actually cut their hair in a scene. That's how that works, and then they don't have time to grow back out in the next movie. So that's why Storm in X-Men 3 had shorter hair. I just wasn't a fan of short hair. It didn't appeal to me, really. Some people like it. I don't. I really don't like short hair. Girls, I just don't. It's just my opinion, though. But I just didn't like that. And because she became Catwoman, her personality changed completely. It's crazy to me that Patience Phillips went from a artist who designs ads for beauty cream to a cat thief, essentially, like a burglar, a thief. It's so weird. It's like, because her personality changed completely when she became Catwoman. Now she wears makeup and she wears this leather revealing clothes. Wears like a cat mask. She wears these claws. But it was just crazy that her whole personality changes in becoming Catwoman. It's just so different. Like, that's how a lot of comic book characters are. Is that their alter ego is very different from what they are as a person. Like, I don't know how to describe her. Maybe like Hulk. Maybe like very different people. Bruce Banner is very different than Hulk. Very good example right there. When you take a character like Catwoman in this movie, they're very different people, and they have a very different personality. Definitely. Patience Phillips is very shy, very clumsy. Catwoman is very badass, and she's just crazy and bad girl, all that stuff, punk, everything like that. It's like that. I think the most interesting aspect of this movie was Ophelia Powers. I'm pretty sure. I looked it up on Wikipedia, but that's what her character name is. And apparently she is the owner of Midnight, the cat that gave Patience Phillips her abilities. And she's probably the most interesting character in the movie, because she basically shows Patience her destiny as Catwoman, which is very interesting. I think one of the most interesting aspect of the movie, and it's just because it shows that, in addition, Mal gave her abilities, but also the fact that Midnight shows her to give her continued life. To show that she can become something more. She become a ultimate badass superhero. Ophelia is there to show her her destiny and kind of show her that she's more than just Phillips. She's also Catwoman. This being of unnatural power, I guess. I guess in the way the movie portrays Ophelia, it's the way that she's very wise, and she just kind of shows her why Patience is so special and all that stuff, which is very interesting. So that's one of the most important parts of the movie. And one of the scenes in the movie I really didn't like at all was the nightclub scene. And this is for someone who, well, I don't suffer from epilepsy, but it really bothers me. And the nightclub scene, this happens a lot in movies where you have like the flashing lights and it's all like weird and crazy. And the nightclub scene just didn't appeal to me. I mean, it was so weird. Adding on to that idea is the fact that during the nightclub scene, Catwoman orders a drink, but she doesn't pay for it. So the question is, are all the drinks at the nightclub free, or does Catwoman just get it for free because she's Catwoman? That doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I was confused about that. Like, what the hell? Makes no sense. And it turns out that Laurel, the woman in charge of the Butylene product, the bee cream, as for a villain, there's not really much of a villain in this until it turns out that Laurel is actually the villain, because she is. Because it really isn't clear who the villain is until you find out, surprisingly, who it is, and that's Laurel. And apparently she is using this Butylene cream and making her, like, I guess she has some kind of strength or something like that causes her to be strong, and so she's like super crazy, and so she's the main villain, and she's the one who basically she's the one who orders Patience killed, but also the one who ends up fighting in the end of the movie. She's the main villain. Not much of a main villain, really. The final fight was interesting. It was a very anticlimactic. I don't know. The movie ended where Catwoman was just gonna continue being Catwoman, but still, Laurel was not the best villain. I've seen better villains. She's kind of pathetic, honestly. And the last scene that made no sense to me, because it doesn't really obey the laws of physics, is where Patience slips out of jail because of her cat abilities. She can somehow slip through jail. And there's a scene where the guards are walking past, and then the camera pans away from Patience to where the guards are walking, and then suddenly you see Patience this part of the wall. It's like, did she phase through? It makes no sense. It's like, what happened? I'm pretty sure she phased through because that doesn't obey the laws of physics, but even then, that's what Catwoman is apparently. She's apparently a character that can walk through walls somehow. But still, Catwoman as a movie itself wasn't my favorite. I liked it. Several aspects of it just wasn't great. It wasn't the worst movie of all time, definitely not. There were some good aspects of it. It didn't have a very good plot. The plot wasn't very interesting. The way that she gets powers is very interesting. I don't think it was ever part of the comic books. I don't think. I think that Catwoman in the comic books is just a cat burglar who's just really, really good with agility and carries a whip and is very cat-like. But in this movie, she actually gets powers that enable her to become a cat. Like, she's literally like she sleeps like a cat. She eats like a cat. It's all there. It's loosely based on the comics, but it's like very different because Patience Phillips was not even part of the comic books, I don't think. But anyway, I'm gonna give this movie. I'm thinking about it for a while, and I think I want to give this movie a 6 out of 10 because it just deserves that. I just feel like it makes sense. So yeah, that's all I can say about Catwoman. Not the worst movie in history, but definitely not the best. So yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and other series that I do, as well as other good content. Also, make sure you click that bell to enable alerts to notice my uploads. And I'll be back next week with another episode. Alright? See ya.